Will I ever not start a video with me chugging a drink? Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Liz. And today we're going to talk about my spring TBR. So I've been looking forward to this video for a while now. I know spring technically is not until for like another week, but I want to get this video out there so you guys can see what books I have on my list. And there's also a few books I haven't actually physically bought yet. These are just the physical books I own, and then I'll also talk about a few other ones that I need to go buy once I'm allowed to buy books again. Then maybe this will give you some time to go pick out your books that you want to read this spring, or maybe I'll give you some ideas of what you could possibly read. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm really excited and I'm really looking forward to just talking about some new books that I have yet to read. So let's get on into the video. So I have like a 4, maybe 5 genres that I'm planning on reading this spring. I have some romances, I have some fantasies, I have 1 classic book that I want to read, and 1 literary fiction, and 1 mystery thriller. So yes, 5 different categories of books that I'm going to be reading. And I think I'm just going to go through and go based on the genre and just work my way through them that way. So the first book that I'm going to be reading this spring is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is a romance book about a grumpy farmer and a social media influencer. This is a companion novel to Love Light Farms, which I read this past winter, and I really enjoyed that book. I gave it like a 4.5 stars, and I just really enjoyed the couple and just the world that you were in that book. And this is still in that same world, follows a few side characters from that first book, and I'm just really looking forward to reading it. And I do believe that this is a second chance book. I think the grumpy farmer in this book, him and the girl in here, I think had like a fling or like a one-night stand, and now this girl is back in his town and they're trying to figure out, I guess, their feelings. I don't know exactly why she's back in town, but I'm sure I'll find out once I read the book. Next up, we have All the Little Raindrops by Mia Sheridan. She's the author of Archer's Voice, and I really enjoyed that book. I really like her writing style. I feel like it just is very deep and meaningful, especially with the way she writes her characters. They all, I feel like, are trying to overcome some sort of issue or challenge, I guess. I don't really know if that makes sense. This book follows 2 people who are actually working on a case together about either a murderer or a kidnapper. It's actually a case that's been ongoing, and the 2 people in this book, they were involved in this case back when they were in high school. So the guy and the girl both were kidnapped, I think, during their spring break. So this is many years later after they escaped that whole ordeal, and they are now trying to figure out and solve the case. Sounds like it's gonna be definitely like a mystery along with a romance, and I'm really looking forward to seeing just how they work through, especially like those traumatic feelings that I'm sure that they still harbor from their experience in high school. Next up, we have The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I've owned this book for probably 2 years now, something crazy like that. I've owned it for a really long time, and I tried starting this book I think a year ago, maybe more than that, and I wasn't in the mood for this kind of romance or this kind of novel where it had a very slow start, and I just needed something to help me get out of a book slump. So I put this on the back burner, and I'm looking forward to reading it this spring. This book follows a city girl who ends up flying to Alaska to rekindle her relationship with her father, or try to fix their relationship, while she's trying to And while she struggles to navigate this very different lifestyle that she's living, she ends up meeting this grumpy pilot who kind of runs, I guess, her dad's plane company. It's very much opposites attract, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've heard it's not huge. It's not very romance heavy. You definitely get just very small glimpses of it, like slow burn for sure, until closer to the end of this book. But I have heard that once it hits hard. So I'm really looking forward to this book, and I really love just Alaska. I've always wanted to visit Alaska, so I'm looking forward to reading a book that is set in Alaska. And the next few romance books I'm going to talk about are actually ones I don't actually own yet, but I'm planning on buying as soon as I am able to. So the first one is called Alive at Night by Emily Reese. And this book follows 2 childhood rivals who were kind of forced to work together on a court case. It follows a brother and his sister's best friends. While they are working on this court case, the main character, she ends up actually needing a fake boyfriend to go with her to her stepsister's wedding. I just read the synopsis and I thought it looked really cute and fun and just like a really quick and easy read. The next book that I also don't have yet is Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. This is a new release that is coming out, and I am so excited to finally get my hands on this, because Lynn Painter, absolutely adore all of her romance books. This book follows 2 wedding objectors. Yes, you heard that right. Wedding objectors. That's their actual job. They are hired to object at weddings. They both are teamed up objecting at all these different weddings, and I guess they are also fighting their feelings for each other. I don't know much else, but I know it's Lynn Painter and I know I'm gonna love it. So I'm very much looking forward to ordering that book finally. And the last romance book that I'm also going to order is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonin Young. And this book is about two people who have a one-night stand, and it actually leads to an accidental pregnancy. So I haven't read an accidental pregnancy trope book in a very long time. So I'm kind of curious to see if it's still something that I would enjoy reading. But I've heard really good things about Out on a Limb, so I'm really looking forward to reading this book. And I think the two people who are involved, they end up deciding to tackle this whole pregnancy as just friends. And so I'm really curious to see how their friendship is going to build and create a foundation to be parents. I think that'll be a really interesting thing to read because I always love it whenever I see a friendship before the romance in a book. I'm hoping I form just a very deep attachment to these characters. And my next book is a mystery thriller book, and that is The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. I don't really know too much about this book. However, I do know I feel like there's going to be a really big plot twist in this. It's about two sisters who are living very different lives. One of the sisters can't get pregnant, so her other sister, in order to kind of help her, decides to get pregnant for her and have the baby for her, but she just needs to find someone to get pregnant with. And whenever you read inside the cover, it says two sisters, one truth, but which one of them knows it? I know it's going to be very interesting. I'm just very curious. I have a lot of questions about what kind of book this is going to be. So, and also the cover is kind of creepy, and I'm just really excited to read this. And that is the only mystery thriller book that I'm going to be reading. And I also have one classic book that I'm going to be reading, and that is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I've actually watched the movie that's on Netflix. I really enjoyed it, actually. I don't know what other people's opinions were on that movie, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and it very much gave me Pride and Prejudice vibes, as it should, since it's the same author. I am looking forward to reading the book because I liked the movie, which I normally read the book first, but I didn't own the book whenever the movie came out, and I kind of didn't know that the movie was this book, which I probably should have based on the title of the movie. So I watched it first, and I enjoyed it. So I am hoping that the book just gives me more insight into those characters and that story. This book follows an unmarried 27-year-old woman who is considered advanced in her age when a former suitor who she actually broke off an engagement to kind of returns back to her town. She has to decide whether or not she will follow along with her family's wishes or if she will follow her heart. So it's a story of personal growth and just second chances. So I'm really excited to read this one. And I have one literary fiction book that I'm going to be reading, and that is Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. I bought this last summer. I kind of read one, maybe two chapters of it. I just wasn't in the mood for this kind of book at the time, but it follows three different women in New York's high society. So it's definitely just like the elite, and I feel like that's going to be really interesting to read about. I'm picturing Gossip Girl, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to be funny and like that. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a lot of, hopefully there'll be a lot of drama, maybe. I don't know. But that's literally all I know about this book, so we shall see. And now we are going to get into the fantasies I'm going to read. I have quite a few fantasies I want to read this spring, actually. I've been in a very fantasy-ish, fantastical mood recently, so I'm really excited to read some of these books. The first two books actually are Child of Light and Daughter of Darkness. So this is the first book and this is the second one by Terry Brooks. I bought this around Christmas time and I've been saving it for March, April-ish, sometime in there. This story follows a girl who has no recollection of her past. She's actually in this children's prison and she's been in it for a bunch of years, and she is about to age out of the children's prison and then will be brought up to the adult prison, which is even more deadly and dangerous. Her and her friends decide to stage an escape, and while they're doing that, she ends up getting, I think, saved by a fae stranger. She's human and he's fae, and he saves her while she's escaping and ends up taking her to his homeland. While she's there, she starts to discover just secrets of her past, because once again, she doesn't know her past. She doesn't understand why she was even in this prison to begin with, and I am just very much looking forward to this. I feel like it'll be very interesting. I haven't heard much about it, but I'm looking forward to it. Next up, I have The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. So this one I bought also around Christmas time, and this follows a girl who ends up, I think, teaming up with her ex-best friend, and he is trying to train her so she can take these Luminary Hunter trials. If she does somehow make it through these trials, then she can restore her family name and their reputation. So I think her dad did something where it kind of made her family get shunned from their community, and she's just trying to restore her family name. I haven't heard much about this either. I'm sure there is stuff about it and I just haven't been paying attention. But I do know that the second book is also out. So depending on how I like this one, I will probably be going and buying the second one as soon as I finish it. Next, we have A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. And this one, the reason why I bought this, I've heard really good things about it. Also, I've heard that it gives Throne of Glass vibes. So it is about a female assassin. And that is literally the only reason why I want to read this book. I know that I think a new book just came out. I think there might be 3 books in the series so far. I don't know if there's going to be more. Our female assassin, she is tasked with the mission to hunt down this mysterious figure who's kind of like against the crown, nicknamed the Shadow. So I think she ends up journeying to this different country or island or something. That's all I know. I'm looking forward to it. I like the fact that it's about a female assassin. I don't know what it is, but if it has a female assassin in the book, you better believe I will be reading it. Next up, we have To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn. First of all, let's just round of applause for this beautiful book. I can't get over the sprayed edges. I can't. That's such a beautiful purple. I can't. How many times can I say I can't? But this story follows a fantasy world where families have to give up their sons when they come of age to this event called, or known as, the Calling. And this calling, it kind of is a test, I think, to see if the son, first of all, they have to survive it. But second of all, if they are skilled enough to then train and be a part of this like elite group of the kingdom. Our main character, she ends up going and defends her brother from, I think, a bully at this Calling event. While she is defending her brother, she ends up catching the eye of the commander, who then in turn selects her, and she ends up being the first female in like half of a century to be chosen to go and train for what's known as the Knights. So that is the elite group that they are trying to get into if they survive the Calling. And while she is there, she finds herself drawn to this commander, and she ends up getting sent on this very deadly mission where I believe that there's no light in this kingdom. It's all mist or something. So they have to journey into the mist to find the light, which sounds very cryptic, and I don't quite know what that means. It kind of sounds like One Dark Window in a way, so that should be interesting. The next book I'm gonna be reading is House of Marion by J.L. This book I've heard really good things about. I bought this back in the fall, I believe, and I have been just waiting to read it. I'm very intrigued. I don't know too much about it, but I'm really excited to read it, hopefully this spring. But in this book, our main character, she has been on the run her whole life because she harbors this deadly magic that she's trying to contain within herself, and I guess is forbidden in their kingdom. And to escape an assassin, she ends up joining the Order, which is a debutante society that is where they teach you how to control your magic. Oh, Allie Hazelwood actually has a blurb on the back. Love that. Our main character must pass the 3 rites of membership in order to finally bury her forbidden magic for good. That's all I really know. Allie Hazelwood says, the forbidden love story of my wildest dreams. So I'm hoping that will be true for me as well. And the next couple of books are books I do not own yet, but will be buying immediately when I can. The first one is Bride by Allie Hazelwood. So this is her paranormal romance that follows a vampire and a werewolf who are forced into an arranged marriage. I've heard mixed reviews about this book. I've heard a lot of people get kind of weirded out and they're kind of like, what did I just read? But I love Allie Hazelwood, so I don't care. I'm gonna read it and I feel like I will enjoy it. The next one is Promise of Peridot by Kate Golden. This is the second book after A Dawn of Onyx, which I actually gave 5 stars in January. So I'm very much looking forward to the second installment of this series. Once again, the first book, it follows our main character who ends up trading places with her brother and going to this enemy kingdom in order to save her brother and her family. And she actually has these rare healing abilities and she uses them to help the enemy kingdom heal their soldiers. And that's all I'm gonna say, because once again, this is the second book and I don't want to spoil anyone. And the last 2 books I want to read are, it's actually 2 and they're a duet or a duology. And that is Heart of Night and Fire by Nisha Tooley, I think. And I think the second one is Dance of Stars and Ashes. I might be wrong. I might need to look that up. But it follows our main character who has lived her whole life in kind of ignorance. She lives in this prison. I don't know if it's necessarily a prison or if she's just kept under lock and key, something like that. She ends up escaping to this city made of marble and gold where there are these dangerous creatures lurking at night. But there's also, I think, some sort of rebellion going on at the same time. And while she's in the city, she's looking into answers about her magic that she possesses and trying to just find answers about that and why she has them. And while she is searching the city for answers, a mysterious stranger starts haunting her dreams. So this very much sounds like The Stars Are Dying, which I gave 5 stars as well back in January. And I'm so excited about this book. But I do know it's a duology and it's completed. So that means as soon as I read the first one, I'm going to read the second one and then it'll be done. done. I know it's not a whole new series I'm starting. I can start and finish it and be done with that story. So I'm really looking forward to it. Also, the covers are gorgeous, so I'm very much looking forward to getting my hands on it. It's not as satisfying when it's just sitting here. Also, there should be like this many more books since I just don't own them yet. I'll pick it up for you guys though. I know this is what you want. And that is it for my spring TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it gave you some ideas for books to read this upcoming spring. And I'm just really looking forward to this. I know I have to wait a couple more weeks, but spring is almost here and I am so incredibly excited. I feel like my soul just reawakens in spring. Also, it's my birthday. That also helps. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.